Welcome back. As I mentioned, there is some very critical work going on that will impact all of us in Michigan for years to come. It's the work of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. 13 people charged with drawing up our congressional and legislative districts. Chances are we're going to lose a seat in Congress, which makes the exercise even more charged. Very happy to have with us this morning 3 members of the commission. Let's bring in Brittany Kellum, one of the 4 Democratic members. Douglas Clark is one of the 4 Republicans on the commission. There are also 5 independents, and Rebecca Zetla is one of them. Rebecca, let me start with you. I'll start with an independent in the middle. This is really this week you all had to ask the court for more time because this is all written into law, your deadlines, but you need more time because the census needs more time, correct?
Yes. Unfortunately, the Census Bureau has been delayed in their work, so they are not planning on producing census results until September 30th, which is several months after their typical deadline. So as a result of that, we're going to be asking the Michigan Supreme Court to provide us with a little bit more time so that we can complete our maps in a timely process.
How much is what do you suppose that does to your timeline?
Well,
and that's a tough question because you've never done this before, right?
Yeah. So under the Constitution, we had to have our maps done by November 1st, and
Right.
we had to have a 45-day public comment before that. So ideally, we would have had to have had the census data by September 30th. So we're now, or September 17th. So we're now not getting it till September 30th. So if we get it on September 30th, we can rush really quickly and get that 45-day comment period in, and maybe have an additional 60 days to complete it.
Let me bring in Brittany here. Brittany, I mentioned at the top of the program, 75% of Michiganders say they haven't heard of this commission, and yet they voted to create the panel on which you serve. What do you think people understand what's going on and how important it is to all of us in our lives?
So I think there's a bright spot there. We have an opportunity to really engage in a way that brings understanding, that opens not only education in terms of what the commission is, but our purpose and our intention. And also with our public comments, public hearings, we're really being intentional and purposeful about how we get the public involved. So we're really looking forward to interacting in a way that makes sure folks feel empowered and understand, particularly with things like this. We get to talk with you and folks get to understand a little bit about what we're doing. And so I think that 75% is, relative, because it just suggests that we are in fact charged with the right thing, which is being, everyday citizens and interacting with the folks that need to know more, as they should, because we need them in order to do this remapping. We need to know who's out there and what they're up to and how they live and where they live and what matters to them.
Well, in fact, I want to let you each weigh in on what you think is your guiding principle here. Doug, it's interesting. I think everybody has pointed out that they think that this process needs to be, that our districts need to be drawn more fairly. And I imagine that's where the agreement ends, because everybody's got a different idea of what fair is. What does fair mean to you in trying to draw this up?
Well, fair means to me that that we, number one, follow the Constitution. The Constitution has identified 7 different aspects that we've got to follow. Number one, I'll list a couple of them. Number one is that each of the districts has to be equal population, and there's a variance that we have here. I believe it's about 1%. On the congressional districts, and it's around 5% on the state legislature and the state Senate districts. And the other important thing is that we incorporate in our work the wishes of the different communities of interest throughout the state. And those are still being identified. There is no list of them. Yeah. And we rely on public comment to understand it more throughout the state.
Rebecca,
so I would say those are the...
Let me let Rebecca weigh in on the same question. What does fairness look like here? It's not as simple as a grid, of course.
No, it's not a simple question, and obviously people are going to have different interpretations. I think the constitutional requirements are what's going to guide us, and I think the most important principle for this new committee is for us to weigh in public opinion. That's something that's never happened before. I think it's incredibly exciting that citizens can comment and provide feedback on the maps, and to me, that's going to define what it means to be fair. The people having an opportunity to have a say in the matter is what's going to be fair.
And Brittany, you too, especially with an eye toward if we end up losing a seat, then the chairs really get shuffled in a new way.
Yeah, and just to follow up with what Rebecca said, I think the most important part that I really enjoy about our process is that even when we come up with one plan, for each district, when we're developing that, there is a second round of public hearings where there's this constant interaction back and forth. So while you highlight something that is very important to consider and definitely in our purview, this kind of symbiotic relationship, again, that we're urgently trying to develop will be crucial. So it is exciting and hopeful to keep continuing to interact with the community and get this done.
That sounds like the exciting part of this. Douglas, I'm really curious though, so by definition, you all are not political professionals. This job was intended to go to Michigan voters. That was your qualification to be a part of this. Tell me a little bit about the way that the relationships have developed so far and the way that you feel the cooperation has gone on with, as I mentioned, the breakdown of the way that this commission is put together.
That's a great question. I am very, very pleased about the relationship among the 13 commissioners.
That's great.
We've developed a culture where we're nonpartisan, all of us. I mean, I don't think I could even list the 4 Democrats on the commission. We just don't pay attention to that, and we're all focused toward getting a lot of public comment and a lot of public input, and doing this the right way. We've hired some consultants to help us. We've hired in the process of getting a purchase order done for a voting rights analyst, voting rights attorney that will assist us in making sure we follow the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and any subsequent litigation that's taken place relative to that. So he'll guide us and advise us on that to make sure we don't step out of bounds on that.
Well, I know you all are basically, you're pioneers, and you're kind of inventing this process as you go. I wish you all the best of luck on it. I so appreciate the reflections and the thoughts on how it's going so far, and I hope that we can talk to you again in the future here as it makes its way down this terribly important road. Thanks, gang, for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome. We'll take a quick break and wrap things up for Flashpoint right after this on Local 4.